Time flies in the NBA, but ages change every year. There's always those typical big namers whom you swore were the same age for 5 years. While you couldn't believe a couple young promising players are already well into their 30s, here are the players who are way older and younger than you think. Starting with players older than you expect, Buddy Hield of the Atlanta Hawks remains under contract for next season. Soon to be 34-year-old came into the league at 24, being the 6th pick of the 2016 draft, was a stud as a 23-year-old college senior. Had he declared for the NBA the season before, wouldn't have been a lottery pick. Not a bust by any means, but was never close to being a star caliber player. Now has regressed. His lack of size is 6'3", and a defensive liability. Shot under 35% from deep last season. If that continues going down, could very well be out the league after 2027. Normal for role players his age to start getting worse. 5 years ago, we thought he could be one of the guys to surpass Steph Curry's 3-point record, but he might not even finish top 10 when he's forced out the NBA. Sam Merrill, same age as Max Strus, he's not a 24-year-old. In fact, the Big Dirty, one of the best last picks we've seen out of Utah State, became a vital piece of Cleveland's regular season offensive firepower, averaged the career best 12.8 points, 42% from deep, living up to his 4-year, $38 million extension signed last year. Most remember for his masterful Game 7 semis, dropped 23 points on 5 trays, one of those players who should have never made it to the league. Could have went overseas years ago, but trusted his abilities. From being the 15th man on 2021's Milwaukee title team to arguably the 5th best player on a contender, one of the greatest success stories many have been overlooking in the league. Alpha Diallo, the rookie for the Denver Nuggets. Undrafted in 2020 out of Providence, only college hoop fans knows his exact age, 29 years old, named EuroLeague's best defender, one of the surprising breakout players that could help shape the Nuggets' contending hopes. Now with Peyton Watson's gone, team is screwed. At 6'7", Diallo can be more impactful than Yabusele. Duncan Robinson, 32 years old, was already 26 during Miami's bubble run, one of the most unthinkable careers from Division III to playing for Michigan. Developed by heat culture, much more than just an outside shooter now, Duncan looks like he'll be able to play into his late 30s. Gary Payton II, a role player legend for the franchise, one of those guys who's meant to fit for one team and one team only. Soon to be 34 years old, will already be entering season 11, but only a few appearances on and off for years. Already played for 5 different teams, including the Wizards, Bucks, Blazers, and Lakers, but nobody will remember him in those uniforms. Still bouncy, can barely shoot or defend, already entering his 7th season with the Warriors. Team basically admitting they're out of solutions, resigning him. TJ McConnell will forever be celebrated for the heroic efforts 2025 finals. Philly got rid of him, putting their full trust on the pathetic Ben Simmons. After 2021, TJ's career 100 times better than Simmons himself. Came off averaging 9.4 points over 5 assists, will turn 35 late March, but in top-notch condition, a master getting to his spots. Has a career shooting near 52%, just 6'1", making him the most efficient guard the league has seen. For being a bad 3-point shooter and not super fast, that undersized, if the Pacers were to upset OKC, TJ would have had a couple finals MVP votes. Pound for pound, the toughest player in today's league. He might play till 40. Many sleep on him now, but come playoff time, the Pacers remain a dark horse in the Eastern Conference. Jayshawn Tate will turn 31 after a week into the season, now super irrelevant from making all-rookie first team to running out of NBA steam. A disgusting 2.8 point average, 31% from the field, undersized small forward in the final year of his contract. There's no place for him in the league after 2027. Rudy Gobert just came off playing his most spectacular series, first round Denver. Locked up the best player in the game, just recently turned 34, but still as valuable defensively as ever. Minnesota took a gamble, treating all their future picks for the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Has proven no doubt he's a future Hall of Famer, consensus second best player in the 2013 draft class. Many laugh believing he's one of those guys with the worst contracts 3 years ago, but couldn't be more wrong. A unique type of player who's easy to hate on, but his team's success speaks for itself when he's on the floor. Pat Spencer of the Phoenix Suns. From playing collegiate lacrosse to changing his mind wanting to become pro in ball, now 30 years old, came off having a career year averaging 7.2 points. Not just an average bench warmer, signed with Phoenix on a two-way deal. His age, the biggest issue in finding a good contract, could find himself back to a minimum deal with Golden State for the Vibes. Jock Landale of the Atlanta Hawks. At the very prime of his career, he's not some promising big with upside. Many think he's 25 but 30 right now. Became a respectable outside shooter, signed 1 year $14 million. Was just 3 years ago when he was Ayton's backup in Phoenix. Ended up the more valuable center only by giving effort. Hard work absolutely pays off at the perfect time. He's already exceeded NBA expectations. Ty Jerome of the Memphis Grizzlies had his one chance to secure a decent sized contract, but absolutely got demolished by Indiana 2025 postseason. He's not 25 years old but already 29, signed 3 years 28. Not the worst thing in the world. Injured most of last season, will have a big role offensively, might be one of the big names to hear when trade deadline hits. Many now view him being one of the most unathletic one-hit wonders, could also average above 20 points on a bad team. Larry Nance Jr., soon to be 34 years old for the new year, now with the Pacers. His 6 different team, the 6'6" power forward nowhere near as good as Pops, a 4-3 guy at this stage of his career, will likely enter his final season before calling it a career. Seth Curry, still active, unsigned, but likely picked up by Golden State when they got nothing to look forward to. Already a 12-year vet, a very successful career for an undrafted role player out of Duke, has already played for 10 different teams. Will he make it 11 by 2027? Ayo Dosunmu of the Minnesota Timberwolves, a career first-round destruction to the Nuggets. He wasn't drafted 2 years ago or 4, but back in 2021, a second-rounder, stuck with the losing Bulls for 4.5 years, a typical unknown until trade fleeted Chicago for the awful Rob Dillingham and draft picks. Wouldn't have gotten the chance to showcase that 43-point game if Edwards wasn't banged up. He's actually a year older than Ant-Man, got signed 5 years, 112. Might be a bit of an overpay given he plays similar to both Edwards and DiVincenzo. Will Ayo be able to play the backup one under LaMelo? Minnesota will be one of the more fascinating teams to watch. Quentin Pose of the Memphis Grizzlies. Golden State didn't even bother signing their backup stretch 4. Averaged a respectable 8-4. He's not some 22-year-old looking for an extension. Signed 3 years 30. The best case for his style of play, a below-average NBA athlete and defensive liability, mid-rebounder, but offensively, he's hit some shots and can score 15 every now and then on a rebuilding roster. On to players younger than expected. Steven Adams, only 33. How is he not 40? Or 35? Now having knee problems since 2023, he lives and breathes physicality. Limited to 32 games for last season's Rockets, everyone knew season was over after he couldn't give it a go for the playoffs. One of the more likable guys in the league, his presence has proven his impact on the offensive glass and screen setting. For a big who can't shoot, not a great rim protector, he's a winning player due to his presence on the glass. One of the more mature guys on the Rockets. The NBA will always be in a better place when Steven Adams playing. D'Angelo Russell, only 30 but plays like 35, should still be star caliber like 2019, but that was a one season wonder. Hasn't been the same since bouncing around teams. Dallas only signed him to tank last season. Always been a streaky scorer, no defense, one of the most unathletic players, averaged just 10 a game on 40% shooting. One of these players now appear on Inside the NBA to start the season, and Charles Barkley will have no idea which team he's even on if Memphis don't buy him out. Been loading since 2015. The internet's connection been gone since Brooklyn. Hasn't refreshed, career's a mess. Swaggy P called him a pest. After 2026, his NBA career likely put to rest. Jared Jackson Jr., 26 years old, expected to be 28-29. Seems like he's been on the field Ja Morant Memphis for a decade, when in reality wasn't even that long. Drafted 8 years ago, has quietly been a 2-time All-Star, not a totally finished product yet, won't turn 27 till September 15, will be getting paid handsomely till 2030, might never fix his bad habits from being in foul trouble, not rebounding, still struggles setting offensive screens, can't play down low consistently, not being physically strong like a Kevin Garnett, but will always make a bunch of defensive teams. His ceiling likely good enough for being the third best player on a title team. Would have been the perfect 3-and-D power forward next to LeBron and Kyrie if he was to replace 2016 Kevin Love. Marvin Bagley III. Been half a decade since clinging to a roster spot, whether he will survive another season in the league, and so far, the former number 2 buzz has done a terrific job at doing so. Still miraculously 27 years old, being on countless of bad teams, started his career on the wrong note with Sacramento to the tanking Pistons and Wizards on his 6th squad. No better teammate to have than playing with Jokic. We know Marvin can impose his will in the paint. Many guys his draft class in their primes will look to win some games for the Nuggets. Finally appears to learn that the NBA was a business early on and now shoved away his ego for the better of his career. Lonnie Walker IV, also with the Nuggets, still only 27. So much has happened since his insane Game 4 2023 semis. Wouldn't have been surprising to think he's 31. A former first-round pick, his San Antonio days seemed like ancient times, to the point some probably thought he might have played with Tim Duncan. Was balling for Philly 2025, but got hurt, has plenty of game left, his contract not fully guaranteed, might see some random 20-point games here and there. Bradley Beal, 33, from All-Star to who is he? Agreeing to 2 years $13 million with a player option year 2, his agent has won again. Beyond washed to the point he's unplayable, Jonathan Kuminga needs to drop his agent and take Beal's place, listed at 6'4", but feels more like 6'1", even a few months younger than Norman Powell, who's 3 times better than the former 3-time All-Star himself. Given his injuries last 4 seasons, you would think he's more so 37-38 on his final legs, can still have some 20-point games here and there. The Clippers might as well be better not signing him at all. Josh Okogie, only 27, felt like he was on the Timberwolves a decade ago. Defensive-minded, undersized at 6'4", soon to be 28 years old. Former first-round pick in the loaded 2018 class, will be another one of those classic players. Charles Barkley will get wrong on trivia which team he's playing for now, none other than the Utah Jazz, a playable regular season guy. The playoffs, a different story. Devin Booker, it felt like a full decade and a half since he last dropped 70 as a 20-year-old. Having one of the biggest roller coaster careers on awful losing teams to contention overnight, back to uncertainty now, won't turn 30 till October 30th. The 5-time All-Star, if fully healthy throughout 2027, will reach the 2,000 point plateau. After the CP3 trade, Book has been playing out of position running the point, something that's not natural for him. Been playing so long now, his entire career with the Suns, longer than Allen Iverson's first stint with the Sixers. Once this coming season starts, he'll be with Phoenix longer than Russell Westbrook's time with OKC, doing so all before age 30. Many thought he'd be like 32, 33. Wendell Carter Jr., only 27. Former 7 pick, has been nothing but an average starting center, average 12-7, a jack of all trades, master of none, undersized big, very nonchalant approach to the game, loves to shoot more than post up. Just one of the mid-sized contract guys many teams just not interested in signing. Kevon Looney, 30 years young? Impossible. Looks 40, but at least he's the oldest player on the current Lakers. Many of you definitely think he's like 33, 34, or even 35. Has had multiple hip surgeries. The Lakers backup, played just 21 games last season with New Orleans. It's still weird not seeing him on a Golden State uniform. Being super durable for the Warriors since 2022 until going to the cursed Pelicans. He doesn't turn 31 till February. A good rebounder, solid screen setter, good enough to play 10 minutes a game. No better place to redeem himself than the Lakers after a crappy season with the cursed Pelicans. Patrick Williams, the disgraceful former 4th overall pick, will be entering year 7 but feels like 11. One of those guys who would have been out the league already if he signed for just a 1 or 2 year extension after the rookie deal, but the stupid Bulls franchise somehow convinced themselves he has upside. 5 years, $90 million. One of those boneheaded, blasphemous decisions, having 3 more years left on his deal. The only franchise that has a small chance at saving him, the Miami Heat, if he gets brought out. For a guy that can't shoot, passive, play scared, can't finish above the rim, no handles, no physicality at all, terrible instincts. If every NBA player were the same size, Patrick Williams pound for pound might just be the worst player. Andre Drummond of the New York Knicks just turned 33? Impossible! He's been 33 since the start of this decade. Given how much he's been a journeyman, was only 26 years old when sent to the Lakers from Cleveland, now will be on his 7th different team, drafted 14 years ago, feels like he's in the same generation as CP3, only a year older than Giannis. Much respect to the greatest rebounder of this generation, added a 3-point shot to his arsenal, improved his free throw shooting to 63%, might drain a couple daggers as New York looks to repeat come 2027 playoffs. Jonathan Isaac, still in the NBA? Feels like at least 15 years he's been on Orlando. Do we have to go back to the Dwight Howard era? Remember with the silly KD comparisons out of Florida State, only due to his height and length, plays absolutely nothing like Durant. At this age, where he's supposed to be in his prime, seems like he's had more Fox News appearances than playing time over the last year and a half. Given his decline, feels like he's more 34 instead of 28. Watch him still be on the Magic roster in 2030. Miles Turner, still only 30 years old, seems like he was gonna enter Steph Curry territory and being one of the longest tenure with one franchise, being in trade rumors for many years since before the start of this decade. The moment we thought Turner was finally gonna be a Pacer lifer, he backstabbed the franchise with a knifer. Thinking he was gonna play with Giannis for more than a year, an absolute travesty of a disgusting signing by Milwaukee. The 6'11 big, just okay, nothing special, has career lows in points and rebounds, looks like he's past his prime, might just have to coast to the very end of his contract. The definition of chasing a bag and didn't back it up with improvements. Indiana probably wouldn't want him for free if they had the chance to sign him again. Gary Harris, only 31, been washed since the Aaron Gordon trade. Entering year 13 when easily could have been playing overseas last 3 years, doesn't turn 32 till September 14th, been playing like he's 35 for half a decade now. With the Pistons, won't be getting much playing time, can enjoy his final season before going overseas or retiring. Honorable mentions, younger than anticipated, Tyler Hero still 26, felt like he's been around forever. Andrew Wiggins only 31, feels 35, and Aaron Gordon will turn 31, feels like 33, given all the injuries, might never be the same.